are back and from our trip, and you're gonna know just by the title where we went. Watch it and you'll find out why we went there. And by the way, we had so much footage of this trip that I'm gonna have to like chop it up in 2 sections.
That's right, you said you can't put on more than 14 minutes per vlog,
It's
right?
15, I think. I have to condense it into 30 minutes, but I had much more. But okay, so come join us, and what we do is we take you from coast to coast, and we fly from San Diego, go to Florida, and we take you to the Gulf side of Florida, Gulf of Mexico.
Sure.
And
the west side.
The west side. That's where my mom lives, and that's where I grew up. Then we drove across Alligator Alley, and take you to Fort Lauderdale, where Billy spent a lot of time over there because of his past work, which we'll all explain in the video. And but then coming back from Fort Lauderdale, Billy and I decided to take an airboat tour, which will be in the second part. But the funny part of the airboat tour is
my first airboat tour, airboat ride.
And you liked it, right?
I didn't get seasick.
No, Billy wants to get an airboat. That's how much he liked it.
They're fun.
They're a lot of fun. But when
tell them about.
So I took a bathroom break and came out and discovered 2 turtles, not turtles, tortoises. You know, the big mofos.
Bigger than us.
We're actually doing it. And
doing it?
They were doing it.
Were they dancing?
They were doing their dance.
They're doing the hokey pokey, actually.
And I caught it on film, lucky enough.
Oh my, it's hilarious.
But the funny part about tortoises is you would not expect this. They make noise when they're doing it. So no.
You can cut that out.
Don't give it up.
Okay.
So you got to watch it.
You got to watch part 2 for the.
Well, you got to watch part 1 to get it, and then watch
turtle porn.
Once again, thank you to everybody for the subscribers, and please subscribe. And a lot of people don't understand that that's how we really make our money. It's not so much on viewability, it's on people subscribing and supporting us. And we do want to go cruising to Mexico next year to the Sea of Cortez. Yeah. So we want to have some income while we're doing that, and we enjoy doing the videos. We want to keep doing the videos, so the only way to keep doing it is to have a subscriber base.
If you're watching, just subscribe.
Enjoy the video.
Like the turtles, do it. Turtle soup, baby.
Okay, this is my husband.
I know, I got it. Can I peek?
You can peek. Ta-da! Okay, this is where we are foxing around. Billy and I are in Florida, and this is where I grew up. We're visiting my mother, and there's also a business trip involved in this, but we wanted to show you Siesta Key. This is my old stomping grounds. I should take my sunglasses, but it's super bright. Yesterday we couldn't even film because it was so foggy. Today it is crisp and a little chilly, but the sun's out. It's beautiful today. Yay. And Siesta Key is getting very, very popular. When I lived here and grew up, it was a sleepy beach town. And we have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, by the way. Texture to it that is, it's almost like talcum powder is how I would describe it, and it gets in everything. Seriously, everything. My mom said yesterday that 6,000 people a month are moving here. I can't even fathom that. So here it is.
There it is.
You want to get in the water?
Yeah, let's put our toes in the water. Leaving the beach, one of the top 10 beaches in the world, they say every year.
It always makes the Travel Channel all the time. That's why it's getting popular.
And we're gonna go, let's pick up a get a sticker for the car, Birdie.
Oh, you want to get a Siesta Key?
Let's get a
sticker?
Siesta Key
okay.
sticker.
All right, well, let's go into the village and see what we can find.
And then, oh, you're looping around, baby.
Oh, I am. Okay.
And
I'm going in circles.
And
I'm
then,
getting old. I'm getting dementia. Okay.
We go right. We go right. The other right. We just keep going, and then we can get out.
We can go this way.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So now what are we going to do after the sticker? You want to see where I grew up?
Yeah.
And Siesta Key. Okay.
Check out your old house.
Okay.
Siesta Key, and then on the way to Longboat Key, where we're going to go for a bike ride. Well,
all right. So we're going to go visit my old boyfriend when I was 18. One of my first boyfriends. So thank you, Billy.
You had another boyfriend?
For putting up with this. But the reason being is because he runs a bike shop on Longboat Key. And,
free bike rental.
See if he's still there.
Mom wanted to take us taking that picture, which we forgot.
Oh, that's another boyfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, I had
2 boyfriends.
I had a life before you. You know.
There's this place that I'm talking about. You know, it really knocks you out, yeah, yeah. Right down in the jungle. Watch out for that mambo jumbo. Oh, it's my favorite place. You know, it's really out of sight. Going out of late.
House that I grew up on, Tremont Street, which you just heard the story from the neighbor Mike, and it was one of the coolest streets in Siesta Key.
He said, if you ever see a house for sale on Tremont, buy it because it's the friendliest street. It's the coolest street to be on. So awesome. We did, and we did.
My father built this house in the early 70s, so we grew up, my 2 brothers, my mom, and my dad, and it's been refaced a few times, been reconstructed or remodeled, so it didn't even look like this when I grew up. And the street wasn't even paved, it was just sand and shell street at that time. So it's cool to see it. Looks so different now. A lot of people in California that I've talked to that don't like Florida, and I get it. I mean, it's hot, it's humid, not this time of year, but in the summertime it's unbearable.
Buggy. Bugs
the size of cars, and I'm talking about cockroaches that fly and dive bomb you. Longboat Key right now, and we're gonna go see Charlie, was my boyfriend back in the day, a long time ago, that runs the bike shop, so hopefully he's still there, we don't know. So the thing about Florida is the old people, and that equates to...
Not that we don't like old people.
No, we love old people, but it equates to bad driving, and I can say that literally because growing up here, it is absolutely true, and I have a funny story about that as well. Is there was an old couple that, I think they were in their 80s, we call them gray hairs here, and somehow they were on the freeway and got off the freeway and ended up on a tarmac runway of the airport and still thought they were on the freeway, and the only reason they found out they weren't on the freeway and on the runway was that at the end of the runway there was a lake. So they ended up driving all the way down the runway until they shot off the runway and fell into the lake.
Only in Florida.
We bike from Longboat Key to Bradenton Beach, which I also lived here as well. It's one of my favorite restaurants growing up, and they have the best peanut butter pie in the world. So they've expanded. Best sunsets in the world too, by the way. That's what they're known for here, Bradenton Beach. And so let's go in and get some pie.
Out of gas.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Homemade peanut butter pie. Let's check it out. Yeah. Try it out.
That's ice cream, right? So
No, it's not ice cream.
wow.
You think it good?
It tastes exactly like peanut butter.
It does, doesn't it?
Send your kids to school with one of these. Peanut butter pie sandwich. They bet you should get a call from the teacher.
There's 325.
Good to go?
Have a good day.
See it.
And we are on our way to Fort Lauderdale, but Billy calls it...
Fort Lickerdale bust.
Somebody just went off the... Uh-oh. So we took Interstate 75 for my mom's. We went south, and now 75 cuts over cross country Florida, and it's going to dump us right into Fort Lauderdale, and what we grew up knowing as Alligator Alley. And Alligator Alley has changed quite a bit. It used to be in the middle where this grass is. See where the grass is over here? It used to be just one lane, you know, each direction, so it was extremely dangerous. And now I also see that they built fences on the Everglades on each side, and the reason why they did that, and the reason it was called Alligator Alley, is because you had to be extremely careful. Alligators would cross whenever, during the day, during the night, so you definitely didn't want to drive at night on Alligator Alley, because you were also up against semi-trucks coming the other direction flying, and they would veer into your lane, and then you could also possibly hit an alligator. So it's much safer actually today. We forgot to mention this earlier.
Oh yeah, while we were on the plane.
We almost got arrested.
They said, I guess nowadays planes have to have a liquor permit. That prevents you from taking on these little travel shooters.
Which Billy stashed in our luggage. I'm covering the name brand here.
The carry-on, we carried those on, and we got through 2 of them in our 4-hour flight. The stewardess noticed that we had our, she goes, "Where did you get that?" And she did. She said, "Oh, we could have you arrested when you get off the plane for bringing your own booze on board."
And she said, she was a nice lady, and she said, "I'm not going to call the cops on you." But we tried to get some information before we left on the flight and got conflicting information, but we wanted to see kind of what was going to happen anyway.
But they allowed us to bring them on. They checked our bags and through the radar and all that.
Yeah, which she said usually they confiscate it.
Now you know, they're clamping down on the fun too.
So it's illegal, don't bring your own booze, but if you do, be a little more stealthy than we were. Discreet. Billy had it like he was pouring it in
sitting
the
there
mixer.
all showing it off. Like, I think we had Bombay gin.
She was like, "Where did you get that?" And then the other flight attendant member came later because you had another bottle.
Yeah, we'd already drank one, and I didn't give her that. But she came, we had about half left, and she goes, "I have to take that." So I just, here we go. I forgot to give her the other bottle.
So we got another, what, about an hour before?
Yeah, a little more. We've got another, 90 miles, so hour and a half. So we're going to visit a buddy of mine, Klaus, and Ted is now the director of Fedship America.
We have a little photo montage that will show you of all the boats that Billy worked on back in the day. As you said, Joan Kroc, Rupert Murdoch, and all his friends that we're going to see. And he's been to some very exotic places.
Be curious to see what all my friends look like.
We're going to get to our hotel. We're going to check in and get comfortable and figure out who we're going to meet first. And later on, we'll give you the video montage. Billy's had quite an extensive boating past, and he's put on a lot of miles, and he has quite an extensive captain's license that he'll have to look into getting back if we start doing any deliveries.
Not on anything under 300 tons, but it does help, like your pay grade, probably.
Pay grade, yeah. So we'll see. We're here to check it out. All right, come join us.
Jump for now.